Welcome back, everybody, to the S&D podcast. It is a new week. We are here to talk about football because it's football season. We just had college kickoff this weekend. You got NFL starting this week. And we're joined by a special guest. Mr. Scott Hodge is with us, along with Mr. Bob Alvis again. How y'all doing this morning?
Well, hey, buddy, what you up to? I'm not special, that's for sure.
I mean, I beg to differ on that. I think everybody here at this table is kind of special, if we're being honest.
Even my mom doesn't tell me I'm special, so don't worry, I'm not special. That's okay. My imaginary friend does have a very high opinion of me until I told him to be quiet yesterday. And then I couldn't see him anymore.
That's not what he told me the other day.
See, now this is terrible. He's a backstabber, my imaginary friend. I feed him and everything.
Dion, how we doing down there, boss?
We're doing pretty good, big dog.
I see it. All right, let's jump right into this. We ain't going to take no time after yesterday because there's a lot we got to discuss about yesterday. First off, let's talk about the first game of the day, the major game, Texas versus Ohio State. I'll be honest with you guys, I actually enjoyed that game to an extent. I thought the defensively, if you love a defensive game, that game was strictly just defense. I'll be honest, I'm not that high on Archie Manning. I don't think he's a Heisman candidate because to me a Heisman candidate needs to be somebody that can perform in those big game moments. He did not. He choked.
Jeez.
That's where I stand on him. I don't think he's a Heisman candidate. He didn't prove it. Now, granted, he is going up against Ohio State, and I mean, they are a tough team. They're the defending champs. Like, I get that. But to be honest, Ohio State's receiver didn't show me much either, and he's supposed to be a Heisman candidate.
Arch should change his last name to Alvis. It might work out better for him because nothing is expected out of any of those people. But yeah, Arch struggled, and I know you're a little bit lower on Texas' schedule, which is going to come up, I think. But at the same time, when you're opening in the big house, it's not easy for a guy who is not as wet behind the ears as maybe he doesn't have enough experience, I think, of what Texas may feel like they need. But yeah.
Scott, what's your take on it?
Well, I feel that his name carried so much in the past off season. It's Archie's grandson. His uncles are Eli and Peyton. Yes, I agree that he's had a QB whisper in his ear since he was born 20 years ago. I mean, and give him the first big game of his collegiate career is the defending national champs. And I mean, there were some struggles right there. You saw flashes of what he could be, but again, I mean, this was their Super Bowl for the regular season right now. You've got some tough conference games coming down the road right now. We'll see how it looks with these other conference opponents. I feel you'll see him open up more. He got the jitters out of his system in a huge way because it was heavily nationally televised. I don't know what the numbers are right now, but it was probably, it was the most watched game yesterday. I can guarantee that right now.
I don't know if it was the most. Well, I mean, yes, it was for like the 12 o'clock games. I guess if you look at that schedule for the 12 o'clock games. However, I'll be honest, my favorite game was definitely that night game. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's one game we can't not talk about after talking about the Texas 12 o'clock game. You got to look at that Alabama-Florida State game as the 3:30 game.
Sheesh.
Somebody's job was saved yesterday.
Somebody's job was saved, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a notification while we're sitting here recording today that somebody's job might have gotten kicked to the curb.
Kalen DeBoer is always going to be on the hot seat because it's Alabama, and it's not even really a hot seat, but honestly, Nick Saban probably did more to hurt any future Alabama candidate or coach than anything because Alabama became so good. Now, I know we can look back in the history of Bear Bryant and so on and so forth, but Alabama had a time in the 90s where they were rough. It was, when you're being put on the Jefferson Pilot game of the week at 12:30, that's not good. Even back then, that wasn't good. So I think Alabama, the thing is, too, I think early season football, you got to take it with a grain of salt because it is early season football.
It's projections.
Right.
Yeah.
And even Kirk Herbstreit yesterday said that all 6 of the teams that were playing in the marquee games, he thought would be in the college football playoffs.
Stanford Steve agreed with him as well.
Yeah, Stanford Steve, actually, yeah. So, it's one loss used to be detrimental. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still ain't as good as no losses, but, I think we need to pump the brakes on a lot of things. But yeah, I get the cause for concern definitely has to be there for Crimson Tide.
I definitely agree there. I'm gonna be honest. I think going into this, and I talked with my buddy Ross last night. I called him after the late night game and we talked for a little bit. And I told him, I said, to be honest, I don't think Alabama should have been ranked going into this season, because to me they didn't prove nothing last year, and I think they were too highly ranked. And I think after this loss, if you want to look at the AP polls, I say they dropped to like late teens, maybe early 20s.
I'm ballparking around 16 or 17 when the release comes out.
Yeah, I agree.
You
I
agree?
agree.
Yeah, that was just
They're still giving Bama its Bama,
yeah.
but it's gonna be a time where they finally realize that Nick Saban is not going to just reappear and fix the whole thing. Nick is off into the sunset. He did everything he did for Alabama football all the way. Hit all the championships, all the conference championships. His turn is done. It's DeBoer's turn, and yeah, they had 9 wins last year.
Yeah.
So they're giving him his SEC love and all that, and it's still Alabama. They're going to give them their top 10, top 12 ranking and everything like that. But now, with Florida State coming in and did what they did, as atrocious they were last year, they showed a run game. They showed trench improvement.
Yes.
And Castellanos, the quarterback, I've loved him since he started at Boston College.
He played a heck of a game.
RPO in his system and everything that helped with Norvell. I mean, Florida State showing that what they did against Bama, they were probably going to win 8 to 10 games this year.
Yes. And I'll be honest with you, like, yes, Alabama should have beaten Florida State as everybody thinks, because that's Bama. Like, Bama's supposed to be this top dog and not lose. But we can't deny Florida State, like Scott just said, showed the improvement. And as much as I can't stand Florida State, and it's more so because of Abe, I'm going to be honest. I love the man to death, but that's his team, and he rides for his team, and I respect him, but I just can't stand Florida State. But I can't knock them either. When you got a team that was horrible last year, and they should turn around this year, and they've already shown improvement just in week 1. I'll talk about this later in the episode. There's somebody to watch out for in the ACC right now, and that's just after a week 1 performance.
Well, and I think one big thing too is it's hard for people to. First off, I think it's hard to rank going into week 1 anyway. But secondly, I think the rankings are so inaccurate in terms of the people that vote are like normally either staffers, beat writers. I mean, they're normally seeing one team, and guess what? They see that other team when they play their team that they're covering. So I'm not trying to scapegoat anybody. I think it's hard, but I think a lot of it is, how did so-and-so do in the recruiting class? How did so-and-so do coming back when they rank people? I think rankings are totally made for people like us to do a podcast about and everything.
Of course.
I think that rankings are like the weirdest. How do you get to that point is what I would say with a lot of teams.
Yeah. Now let's look at this late game here. We got a big Clemson fan sitting here across from me, and I know he's probably eating himself alive and like wondering what happened. So let's start with you. What'd you think? Like, did your boys show improvement compared to last year? Like, are they top tier to win and be in the playoffs?
I will give my kudos to LSU. The transfer portal, it worked to his advantage. Brian Kelly, not Brian Kelly, LSU's head coach.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly. Yeah.
It is Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Somehow he's still there. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that void. I'm just not wanting to sit here and see him smiling this morning.
Trust me, it's better than seeing him hit the table at the press conference.
I agree. Or trying to speak Cajun. Nussmeier showed up. He did what he was supposed to do. I'll sidebar on this right now. Nussmeier's draft stock improved as of yesterday because of the top 3 quarterbacks that were going into the draft with Arch, Cade, and Nussmeier. Nussmeier projected so much better now.
Yes.
He stepped in the pocket. He took hits. He ran the ball smartly. He dove for first downs. I saw him actually working. Cade showed Aegis.
He showed potential.
He showed potential. Yes, he had flashes. It showed him not doing what he did last year with what he had last year. Our receiving core last year never had a healthy lineup to begin with, but still did so much to give them the opportunities they had last year. There was some throws that he should have made with ease, and there was probably 4 or 5 that were just overthrows.
Yeah.
So the run game is still a question mark. And that's both offense and defense. They couldn't stop the defense from running the ball to start early in the game, but it opened and spreaded the field so much now for Nussmeier to do what he needed to do, which was to dice up our defense.
Yes.
Now, the defense held them under 400 yards. I will be glad for that. That's a win. It wasn't them 500 plus yards like what Texas did to us last year. But this was our bar game.
Yeah.
So we see what we need to improve on. This is a wonderful way to learn what needs to be improved and what has to have looks. Antonio Williams getting hurt didn't help us. I would have loved to see Gideon from LCA get some attention, but he never got a touch in the game.
I didn't think he did neither. And then when I talked with Ross last night, he came in for one play. He came in as a blocker. He missed the block on a run play. Didn't see that. I must have been zoned out during that, so I completely missed it.
Well, how much do Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler point out, hey, so-and-so's in the block?
They did.
You know what I'm saying?
They pointed
Okay.
it out. Apparently, I didn't. I must have been zoned out, or I went to the restroom break. Dion was here with me. To be honest, we might have took a trip down memory lane last night, looking through some yearbooks too. We were watching football, having a good time. You know,
All in all, it was a good loss.
it was.
It wasn't a blowout. It was a good loss. I'll
I
take it.
agree.
I think y'all definitely competed, and I think it's tough when you play in an SEC opponent because the SEC is that #1 conference. When you talk about college football, you talk about SEC, SEC, SEC. Then you have the other Power 5 conferences like the ACC. But to be honest, the ACC is not as strong as it has been, at least when it comes to the football aspect. Now, in other sports, the ACC's probably can match with the SEC very easily. But when it comes to football, you have 2, maybe 3 teams in that conversation that can go out and compete. Clemson being one, Florida State and Miami. Those are your 3 top dogs in the ACC.
Yep.
And it kills me to say this because I'm a Tech fan. But Tech used to be that. When we had Beamer, we had Tyrod, when we was running that, yeah, we were the top dog. But now we had to take a step back, and now it's those other.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll be honest, I thought it was a great game. It definitely showed that Clemson can play. And it definitely, I could tell there was a lot of nerves in that game from both teams. Like, not just Clemson, but LSU as well. I will say the quarterback for Clemson, like, had he pulled that game out and come back, I would have said he's in conversations to be on the Heisman candidate list because he would have had to dig in deep. To me, that game showed a Heisman quarterback where I didn't see that with Texas and Ohio State from either team. LSU's quarterback deserves to be on the Heisman mention list after his performance. Even Clemson's deserves to be. Now, if Clemson's receiver doesn't go down, does Clemson come back and win that game? Possibly, but they lost their #1 receiver.
Yeah.
But they didn't get a run game at all. LSU was stopping the run, like Scott said.
Keep in perspective, they lost to LSU, not Wofford.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like that's what I think everybody needs to realize. It's like
It
we were
was a
talking about
good
earlier.
loss.
Yeah,
It was a
top-
good loss to a top 5 opponent.
Yes, if you lose one of those, you know, the 3 big games from yesterday, it's not, oh my gosh, you know, necessarily let's nuke the whole thing, red button, like we're going to be terrible this year. Dude, you lost to LSU. It's not like you lost to Wofford, and I hate to pick on our good friends from Wofford, but it's not like you lost to them or an FCS.
I'm glad you're picking on. We're gonna talk to him later when we get into look into the
Oh, I
certain
saw.
team schedule.
I guess that's. I guess it was subconsciously their name came up for me too.
But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna be an interesting year for college football. But let's take a look here. We've got the schedules for 2 teams in front of us here. One of them's Texas. I went through and I marked what I thought their record's gonna be, and I'm gonna be honest. Being an SEC team, if you look at their schedule,
It's a gauntlet.
to me, it's a cream puff, in my opinion. They've got 3 teams that really, to me, stand out, and that's Ohio State at the Swamp against the Florida Gators, and then you got to go to Atlanta and play Georgia Bulldogs. But if you look at the rest of their schedule,
Don't sit there and go by Norman and College Station neither.
Well, the Oklahoma thing's a rivalry, so you gotta put that in
There's
there.
always going to be height and tension with that.
I always think it's hard to win on the road too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They got Oklahoma at home. That's not on the road.
Right, but that's a Red River shootout. That's a
Instead,
neutral.
it's still a Red River.
Yeah, but if you look at how high Texas is on everybody's poll and how they're supposed to perform, Texas should blow them out.
But
like
yeah,
that
they
should
should.
be like a 14
But I want to
game
say
win.
a couple years ago or 3 years ago, the one that was really highly ranked lost to the other one, if I'm not mistaken. So
And that was a shootout, too.
Yes, that one can happen. Kentucky, I think they probably win that one, but Kentucky to me is not a basketball school only anymore. So I think it's going to be tough. Any game where you go on the road, to me, and people can argue that maybe this is another podcast topic all along at some point. I think going on the road is tough.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not.
Right? No.
But somebody for like Archie Manning, who's supposed to be a Heisman candidate, who's got the QB whispers of his uncles in his ear, Peyton and Eli, that shouldn't bother him. No offense. Like, you're Texas. You supposed to be the top dogs this year. Y'all are the favorite to win the SEC. But after last night or yesterday afternoon, I think that changed. I really do. I truly do. And we'll talk about that a little later on in this episode as well. But looking at Texas' schedule, I got them going 9 wins and 3 losses. And those 3 losses are Ohio State, Florida, and Georgia. That's where I put them. I don't know what y'all's predictions
You
are.
copied my paper.
I had this done before you got here, buddy. Dion, what's your take on it? What you think their record's going to be looking at their schedule?
That's a tough one because I'll be honest, I don't really watch Texas football. I'm all ACC, and by the way, Scott, I was actually rooting for Clemson. It broke my heart when they lost, but as you said, it was a good loss. Now back on Texas, I would say, you know what? I would say maybe 8-4.
8-4? Okay.
Just being generous.
Who you giving that 4th loss to then?
That 4th one, I see it going to. You may laugh at this one. Maybe Texas A&M.
I looked at that too and thought about that. Yeah.
That's not a bad one because that's another big rival game, and like everybody knows, unless you're Virginia Tech and Virginia, that goes 2 different. That can go either way.
Battle
Unless
of
you're Tech,
Texas.
because Tech just for some reason, I'm gonna bash the crap out of UVA. I'm sorry, I don't like UVA. Everybody knows that.
I'll change I have mine 9-3, like we joked earlier. It all comes down to Florida.
Yep.
And Russell, love that if Lagway can stay healthy for that game. If Lagway stays healthy and plays Texas, I think Florida ruins Texas's chances of making the playoff this year.
I agree.
Lagway is.
Well, Florida's a team that needs to play well this year to keep Billy Napier employed as well, because Florida
Agreed.
last year to me was just not good, not by Florida standards at all.
No.
And that's the other thing too. I think people have 1 or 2 years, 3 years, even sustained success. Guess what? We don't live in the 80s or 90s anymore. As much as I would love to, we don't live in that point of time. So I think like Nebraska, Oklahoma,
The Big Red.
people like that, I have bad news for you. Newsflash: we're in 2020 now, and we've moved on. Guess what?
2025, you mean?
Well, in the decade, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It seems 5 years worse now for everybody. But I mean, look at it this way: back when I was a kid, a teenager, not everybody was more my single digits. Not everybody was on TV. Not everybody was on TV. Guess what? Now. Yeah, when I was 3. Guess what? Now everybody is on TV. Every single soul is on some type of TV, whether it's a platform, streaming service, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're a fan of Wofford, I'll go back to
Oh my
Wofford.
God.
If you're a fan of Wofford, you're going to get your fill of Wofford football some way, somehow, if you can.
You have them streaming high school games on ESPNU.
Yeah.
These 5A and 6A schools from Texas and Florida. And I'm not talking top 25 in the state. I'm talking top 25 in the nation, where these stud 5-star players are coming from. Everyone who's anyone in a football uniform that is a baller will be noticed.
Yep.
You've got sophomore rankings, junior rankings. You've got rankings for kids. They'll have breaking news for an 8th grader getting an Alabama scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's the thing. Like, to me, the recruiting pitch could have used to been, hey, we're on every week. Well, guess what? everybody's on every week now. I mean, like, so
It's the double-edged sword of social media.
Yep.
So we're sitting here, we're talking about Florida, and you said if Lagway stays healthy, but I was talking with Ross last night, and Ross even said that backup that came in for Lagway, because Lagway and the starters only played quarter one for Florida because they blew that team out yesterday. That backup was a true freshman, and the way he was throwing the ball, Ross said he looked better than Lagway did at times. So I think Florida is set at the QB position. So if Lagway was to go down, can that freshman step in? Granted, they were playing a no-name yesterday, but the way that he was delivering the ball, looking at the highlights, I think he could potentially do something too. So it's all a matter, like you said, Lagway's got to stay healthy. That is the game, I think, that determines both teams on how they're going to stay in the SEC, whether they're going to be a playoff projected SEC champion or whatnot. That game right there is the one to watch.
Texas absolutely embarrassed them last year in Austin. I mean, it looked like Florida didn't even really. They didn't show up. I mean, and I get it. Texas was a lot better than Florida was, but I mean, it looked horrendous.
Yes,
horrendous.
Definitely.
Now I tell you what, that game I would not be surprised if it's not a night game. The advantage to Florida is they got to come to the Swamp, and I ain't never been to the Swamp. I've seen it. I've seen it live. That's one place I don't want to. If I was an opposing team, I don't want to go play in the Swamp. I'm gonna be honest with you.
The Florida State game that Abe and me were supposed to go down to and everything, that's another place you don't want to go to.
Tallahassee.
When you go to Doak and you see Dalvin Cook peel off his second 60-yard run and you see that tomahawk chop in unison through the whole stadium, it is terrifying. Granted, we won, but it is terrifying.
That's not the only thing. I'll never forget, and I wasn't at this game, thank God, but in Blacksburg, E.J. Manuel, I'll never forget that shot down the field. And I mean, Tech had that game won, and then all of a sudden, just night. It was like,
Let's see.
I don't know. But yes, that Florida game is definitely one that needs to be kept an eye out on, because that, like I said, that one's going to determine both teams for the SEC. And since we're talking about the SEC, we're gonna switch gears just for a brief second here, and we're gonna look at who is your dark horses to win the SEC, to make that playoff and be that team. So favorites, your top three, you're looking at Texas, Georgia. Third, they had Alabama. That's a joke in my opinion. Like again, Alabama's highly overranked there. My opinion, LSU is definitely gonna jump up now. They're gonna probably be your third best. But my dark horse in the SEC is the Florida Gators because of what they have in that room. I don't know what you guys are feeling, so let's find out. Dion, who's your dark horse for the SEC?
I would go with... Yeah, I'm with you on this. I'm going with Florida on that. Definitely Florida.
Okay. Scott, what you're thinking?
I'm going to the team that claims what Death Valley is. I'm going to say LSU. Because...
And I don't think LSU plays Florida this year. I think they both get a lucky break there.
I did just check week 6. That will be the primetime game. It's TBD right now, but there's no other game that's bigger right now, unless we win out and Florida State is 6-0. Then they'll play at Florida State or something like that. But it should be the Florida game for the primetime game.
Bob, who's your pick for the dark horse in the SEC?
I'll go LSU. I mean, I always love to be on the lane train, but I don't know if I can be all aboard this year for an SEC title. I mean, Ole Miss is going to get there. I think they'll be okay.
I will say my favorite is going to be Georgia, just the way the way the gunner played yesterday. So he played pristine football yesterday and running the ball as well too. But as for a dark horse, LSU will be my dark horse pick.
Yeah, Georgia's another team. SEC is just stacked. When you look at their teams that are there, you have Texas, you got Georgia, you got LSU, you've got Tennessee. Let's not sleep on Tennessee. Tennessee won yesterday, and they're not highly ranked right now, but Tennessee is still one to watch out for. You got the Gamecocks, which they play today at 3 o'clock against my Hokies. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm already counting that as a loss for us, but who knows? Maybe
a tie.
He said what?
I'm hoping for a tie.
I'd be okay with the tie in that game. That means we did something for once. You know, we're not getting blown out. My goal is that we don't get blown out. If we're going to lose, let us lose by 3-7, and I'll be happy. That's what my goal is, to see Tech show up today and actually play Tech ball. And if you're going to lose, make it respectable. Don't get out here and be like Florida Gators and beat somebody 55-0. and not score a single point. Drones is back. Drones is healthy. We got Pop as a backup. Show me something today. Show me why you're like Tech is supposed to be decent at quarterback.
I mean, I'm gonna sugarcoat it and give y'all at least 3 points. At least
3 losses, you mean?
No, I meant 3 points as in a win for this game for today.
You putting us in a win column?
At least one, like at least 3 points against South Carolina.
All right. Well, what's your take on that one, Bob?
I mean, I think obviously I'm going to go on it's a neutral field game.
You
so.
can't say that though because
I can't say that.
Hear me out. One thing people do not give Tech credit for, and Scott can attest to this: Tech fans travel.
They
don't matter where we play.
They do.
That stadium is going to be packed with maroon and orange. I promise you.
But
there's plenty of maroon. I know that. You can't tell Maroon and Garden from being so close.
You're not dressing in your locker room. You're not sleeping in your bed. That's what makes games, even neutral site games, are not a home game for somebody. I get the fact that Tech's going to travel. I get that 100%. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, I think if you lose a game at home, not picking on you,
you're
Scott, but if you lose a game at home, that's a home game. Now, obviously, you're playing cream of the crop. But if you're at a neutral site, you didn't have a home game, I'll take South Carolina, though.
You got South Carolina. What you taking?
Not so fast, my friend. I got a pencil here somewhere.
I already told you I wanted a top, but I have to pick somebody. I'm going to say South Carolina because of Sellers and him alone. He is a very talented quarterback. Shane Beamer is a very respectable coach.
He should have been in Blacksburg.
It's not his fault.
I don't disagree. I mean, the way that Tech's been playing the last couple of years, you should have came up with a blank check and said, what do you want to Shane to have him come back home? But he's making his own trail right now, and it is starting to open up for him in South Carolina.
I think he wanted to make himself, or he wanted to not be in his father's shadow, and I think if he would have stayed at Tech, honestly,
I think it's better for all parties involved that he's not at Tech, personally. His and everybody else's. Mm-hmm. I get it, but
because the bar would have been set so high for him. Because Frank did this for 25 years, you should automatically do that as well. It would have been so much built up that
the Arch Manning thing in a way.
1,000%.
Change your last name to Albus. I'm telling you, I will give anybody that needs my last name. They're more than happy to use it if they need to. But yeah, I think stuff like that. And while we're on that topic, real quick, the coming home again stuff I don't think works as well for coaches. Like if pick whoever you want. I mean, I don't think it works, and I think sometimes it's hard to fire an alum in certain situations too, when you've got a great that's the offensive coordinator or a great that's the head coach. Don't do that. Get somebody that's not affiliated with the program, in my opinion, because it's easier to fire somebody that you don't have an emotional sentiment to.
I feel Tech will give South Carolina some trouble. South Carolina will win, but it won't be just silver platter. Here you go.
Yeah, everybody's
here's a 48-7 win, but it's going to be like a 31-21 game. I'm feeling it's going to be something where it's going to be a turnover is going to cause the time of the game.
I truly think this game, Tech comes out firing on all cylinders for the first 3 quarters. We get to that 4th quarter, I think Tech's going to have a lead, probably 7 to 10 point lead, but then that's when something's going to happen. Like he said, you're going to have a turnover that's going to change the aspect of the game. And I think it comes down to that 4th quarter, probably the last 5 minutes of the game. And honestly, I love Tech to death, and I'm going to rock with them no matter what, but South Carolina's no joke. Like, once again, you're playing an SEC opponent. Like, me personally, if I'm Tech, after watching what Alabama just did with Florida State, I want Alabama to open up next year with us. I'd rather open up with them. I'm going to be honest.
Then it would be the Alabama USC all over again. It would be 56-13 or something like that.
Well, see, we played them for a couple of years ago. Tyrod was the quarterback because we had those black and orange jerseys, and we took them to the wire. It was a game.
Against Bama or LSU?
Against Bama.
Okay, I was about to say, I remember the LSU game. It was nothing but gold and purple.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
It was ugly until they put Tyrod in. Then Tyrod brought us back because we started Sean Glenn in that game. Mm-hmm. And Sean Glennon just, God forbid.
I don't know if I know a bigger Tyrod Taylor fan in the whole wide world than you. I mean, granted, my circles are small sometimes, but he was good. But
he was a smaller version of Mike.
He really was. Like, that's literally like
But
Michael
I
Vick
think
2.0.
Daniel treats him sometimes as Mike in his love for him.
Well, you got to also realize when I became like knowing about the sport, Vic
Right.
was at the end of his career at Tech. Like, he was graduating. So I didn't get to see Michael Vick and pure Michael Vick form. I've seen the highlights.
I'm just saying you love Tyrod. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I do.
ain't hating on it.
I
ain't
love
hating.
Logan too.
No, you don't. The love for Tyrod is,
That's because I think
it's out of this world. There's no second love. You send Tyrod a Valentine's card, I'm sure.
I sent him a birthday card. I do that. No, but now we just started talking about Tech, so let's take a look at their schedule here for a minute. And I know Bob's going to want to dig into this a little bit too. I'm looking at this cream puff of a schedule, and I'm going to say that as a Tech fan, Tech has a cream puff schedule. Our toughest game right now in the first couple weeks is South Carolina.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Say what one more time? Do we have a cream puff schedule?
Yes.
You gonna tell me that's not a cream puff schedule?
I don't think so, Skeeter.
Just because
I'm glad you say that, but I think it's a cream puff.
What is your record win-loss that you have?
Projected?
What do you see them on your paper right there as a win-loss?
Projected, I've got them finishing. If they play to the potential that Tech should play to, they should finish 8-3. Potentially 8-4. 7-4. Sorry. 8-3 is where I have them at. I have them losing to South Carolina. I have them beating Vanderbilt because that's a rematch and that's in Blacksburg. They're going to look for blood that game. They should dominate Old Dominion, dominate Wofford. No offense to Wofford.
Who did ODU play today?
ODU.
They were actually pretty. It was a close game.
They played Indiana, maybe.
I think
Yeah, it was a close game for.
So Tech has 12 games. You say 8-4.
Yeah,
Okay.
8-3.
After losing to South Carolina.
Yeah.
So 8-4.
Okay.
And I have them beating NC State at NC State. I have them winning against Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech, that could go either way. I think that could be a loss, but it could also be a win because it is Georgia Tech, and that's a big rival game, like that always is for us. California, after seeing them play yesterday, I think Tech beats California. Louisville, Florida State, and Miami. Those three are probably the ones that could determine whether Tech finishes, like I said, 8-3 or not. I have the loss coming to Florida State and to Louisville. I have us beating Miami because, and here's why I say that, we want vengeance after we were screwed last year. We want blood.
I agree with that.
And it's in Blacksburg. Y'all ain't getting the love that y'all got on that domination Hail Mary bullcrap that y'all pulled last year. And you will say, no, that's not a catch. You can't overturn that call. So if I'm Brent Pry and I'm Virginia Tech and Kyron Jones, they come to our stadium, we're coming for blood. And I mean, we are smacking them dead in the mouth like the old Amherst Lancers used to do back in 06 and 07 when they were dominating.
And those were mean teams, too.
That's what I want to. I want to see that Tech team show up this year. If that team shows up this year, watch out in the ACC. Tech could make some noise.
Who you got?
Hold on, I'm trying to cool down after all that.
Yeah,
fire.
no, it's a lot of heat. A lot of heat right there.
Because then we end up at UVA. And no offense, that's a win automatically.
This
Let's be
man hit
honest.
a power up, and I didn't even know we had
father
power
decided,
ups here.
this is why you probably got us as a loss to UVA, don't you?
I do.
Why? Because you and my father, he texted me yesterday. We was watching the game. UVA looking good today. UVA beating good. I said, who are y'all playing? You're playing Coastal.
They're playing the Chanticleers.
You're playing a nobody. You're playing a Liberty. No offense to Liberty.
Granted, they scored 48 points.
I think everybody needs to slow their roll on week one.
Yeah,
Just because people are looking mad at week one. We
I
need to
agree.
This is Tony Elliott's third year at UVA. He should have. Is his third or fourth?
Fourth.
I'd
year?
say maybe last.
He's
He has to finish
I'm
6
not
and
going to
6.
say that.
If UVA finished 6-6, that saves his job.
Yes, yeah, agree.
I don't
Agreed.
even think that. I think his job is saved because of the incident that happened a few years ago. I think because of that happening, they're afraid to let Tony Elliott go because of how close that team was and everything they went through. I don't think they let him go for a couple more years.
I agree.
I mean, dude, I think, I'll be honest with you, I think every college coach should almost get 4 or 5 because you're not playing freshmen in most cases. Now, again, there are exceptions to this rule. You're not playing freshmen in most cases. your recruiting class is not coming through until I think total 4 or 5. Now again, there are exceptions. I cannot stress that enough. I'm feeling the heat of the eyes right here.
I was about to say the Florida State head coach that lost his job in 2 years.
Right. There's, exactly.
You had everybody on the board donating every bit of dime and nickel and quarters out of their pockets to get that coach out.
No,
because they couldn't.
The world is very different now too with the portal.
Agreed.
It's 100% different with the portal.
Yes, I'm not denying that.
I would almost say you need to recruit the portal better than you need to recruit high school.
Yes.
I don't think recruiting high school is near as big of a deal as hitting that portal.
Yes. Oh, I
From
agree.
my view, it's still with high school, but with the portal, with everybody else.
It's so funny when I see kickers that have been at one school and are now at another school because of portal. That to me is just the most mind-blowing thing in the whole wide world, because if you look at kickers, especially and I'm getting ahead to the NFL, but if you look at kickers, do you know how many kickers that play in the NFL are undrafted?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Shane Graham,
Yes.
undrafted. And I'm not kicking him. That is no knock on him.
Literally.
I like that. That is no knock on him at all. But I mean, because I think he's a pretty good college kicker. He had a good career. Undrafted. I mean, it just blows me away.
You say that the recruiting process needs to stay in high school, and I think that's more so because of your coach. Because your coach, and I respect Dabo Swinney, he doesn't like the portal. He's like Nick Saban. The portal is a joke to them, but they have to do it. Brent Pry, on the other hand, for Tech, I think he needs to get off his high horse too and stop looking at high school, and he needs to go recruiting in that portal.
I think Dabo is probably one of these people that comes to, I'm tired of the portal, I'm out of this mess at some point. Because I think that's affected some people in
What
college
Tony
coaching.
did at UVA, yeah, I agree 1,000%.
I could see that happening, but however, and I'm going to sidebar here, after Alabama losing yesterday, if that coach is not on the hot seat, and depending on how they play out this year, he loses his job, I think they offered to Dabo, and Dabo might be leaving Clemson for the SEC. That's the only way I think Dabo leaves Clemson. Otherwise, he's retiring as a head coach of Clemson. He only leaves if Alabama offers him a head coach job.
It's going to have to be key to the city, the AD's parking spot. It has to be.
They'll give him the red carpet. Let's give him the
He's
Nick
got
Saban
that now in Clemson University.
Right, that's the thing. I think, can we sidebar a little bit on
Yes,
this?
sidebar on the sidebar.
I think
You're on the other side of the box.
I think Dabo is Clemson. I don't see Dabo leaving because how old is Dabo?
Dabo is,
I want to say
he's in his early to mid 50s.
okay.
This is his 17th. He was on SVP the other day. He's in his 17th year as head coach since Tommy Bowden retired immediately after just embarrassing himself.
I don't see Dabo leaving for another job because I don't think college football is the way it used to be, where you can kind of just start over. And true, Dabo's a legend. Dabo is in the boat here. This is the exceptions to the rule that I'm talking about with Dabo and DeBoer. I don't see Dabo leaving. I don't care if Alabama does offer him the key to the city, because if they did, why didn't he leave this time? I don't think Kalen DeBoer was first choice in my personal opinion.
Oh, Dabo was on speed dial number 2.
So if Dabo didn't take it this time, why does he take it next time?
More money. It wouldn't be money because. Yes, the money's good for him and everything like that, but he makes sure that all of his others are taken care of right now. Look at his coordinators right now.
Yeah.
Garrett is top 3 position, highest paid right now. He's around $3 million as an OC.
Yeah.
What the hell? The Penn State defense coordinator came over and all that too. He's somewhere in the same ballpark right now to bring that Big Ten defense mentality. And look at the assistants on top of that as well. You've got all the players coming back. Taj is part of the QB coaches right now. You've got defensive players. CJ Spiller is the running back coach.
Bottom line, Dabo's not leaving. That's where we can really.
I'm not thinking
really
get
this.
Humble to how he was coming into college.
Yes.
His story in college is probably the best thing ever. He had no home. His mother basically stayed in his room in Alabama. And it was just humble, God in football.
Yes.
That's what he's instilling in these men right now. And same thing with the schooling and everything like that. He's giving scholarships out. He's the highest scholarship player turnover for everyone that comes out of school has a degree.
And I'm not hating on DeBoer in Alabama, by the way. I love Dabo. I mean, I'm not trying to like take it off Dabo, but I'm not hating on DeBoer. I want to say DeBoer's got a story too, to where he came from like, I want to say D3 roots or something at some point. Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't see Dabo taking the job this time. Why didn't you take it the first time type thing? But I don't think DeBoer is going to be fired unless Alabama really goes south.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on the hot seat, only winning 9 games last year.
Yeah.
And he had, again, the Nick Saban effect. He had big shoes to fill, and they had to hurry fast.
Never's coached in that part of the country either. It has no like geographical ties.
No, it was Washington the whole time over there.
This is what I love about talking on the podcast. We just somehow sidebar and get away from our main
and I think
focus.
I think that geographical ties is a big deal in a lot of cases, because granted, we're in an era where everybody can know somebody. Like if you live in Washington, you might know somebody in Georgia type of thing. But I think the geographical ties are big deals a lot of times too. And that's why I thought that would be the big reason why DeBoer would, I use the term struggle very lightly, but that's where I thought the adjustment would be. You're going from Washington to Bama. You've never been in the South to coach, so forth. I'm done.
All right.
That's why I feel they did so bad with Ed Ogeron at LSU.
Yeah.
He's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
He knew Louisiana.
Yep.
He knew every watering hole and everything like that. So.
And the green is not always green is not always grass. The grass is not always greener on the other side too.
All right, back on Virginia Tech. Where do you put them finishing record-wise? Then I'm gonna get to these two douches over here.
Go to them, because I've got.
What did we do?
I'm hung up on Wofford.
He's gonna get Wofford at a loss, I guarantee you. Which I mean, I'm not mad at, because no offense, JMU did beat us.
Hey, you know you used to coach at Wofford, right? Mike Young.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You know who Mike Young's related to?
Vince.
Mark Lindbergh.
Oh God.
Mark Lindbergh, the Brookville coach, whose brother is the athletic director at Radford.
Oh wow. Yeah,
I'm done.
All right, Dion.
I'll go 8-4.
And you're giving that fourth loss to who?
Well, I mean, South Carolina today is one.
Who's your other three? Or your other
Come back to me.
Other than Virginia.
Georgia Tech,
Yeah.
FSU. One TBD to be determined.
Between Louisville or Miami.
All right, Dion, where you put Tech?
I think you win the Cal game, because that's a long trip from West Coast to East Coast, and
it's in Blacksburg.
I love me some Friday night high school football. Some Friday night high school. I really do like Friday night high school football. Friday night college football, can't beat it.
Yes. Best time to go to Blacksburg is on Thursday night or a Friday night game. I'm gonna be honest. Lane Stadium gets to rocking.
And to answer your question, I put them at 8-4. So they're going to lose to NC State, Georgia Tech, FSU. Sorry, and hate to say it, you might just lose to UVA by 3. Just by 3.
Back on that 3 again.
He's giving us a win against South Carolina, but he's giving us the loss to UVA. No offense. We have dominated that series every year, except for a fluke year, 3-4 years ago when they had Perkins? I mean, come on. Who does UVA have to compete with Tech?
Win is a win.
They can't
I was just
win.
about to say.
They've won, 4 in the last 50 years?
Not even that.
I think it was 4 in the last.
It might be.
In the last
I don't
50
know.
years, they've only won 4
But no
times.
offense, last year, what happened? They came to Blacksburg and Tootin ran all over them. Drones didn't do anything. Pop Watson didn't do anything. Tootin ran all over them. One thing Tech has always had is a running game. I will be determined today to see how good the running game truly is for them. However, UVA is UVA. I showed him a picture yesterday. UVA is a college ACC powerhouse, at least in basketball and baseball. That stadium was so empty yesterday, it was a joke. They look like a Liberty University. No offense to Liberty again, I'm picking on them.
Why are you
Wait
looking
a
at
minute.
me all
I
the
don't know
time?
about all this.
I'm just picking at Liberty
mean.
because they're a smaller
My
school.
degree is from CVCC. If you want to take on Central Virginia Community College.
But
At least
UVA
with-
that's the problem with UVA. And I will say this, their fans are horrible. They don't support football like they should. Like, no offense. Tech's getting blown out like the years they've had. Show me a game where there's been an empty seat in Blacksburg even when we're getting blown out. We can both attest to this. The Clemson game. Sold out game.
It was sold out.
No.
Hold on. Let me finish. They were beating us, but ask Scott, how many Tech fans were still in that stadium till the end?
Until the third quarter came around. The fourth quarter was gone.
I get it. You can't play
The student section was gone in the
card.
fourth.
I'm just saying. You can play that.
No, you can't.
What's the reason? I'm talking about using it as a Blacksburg fan base.
I understand that. So you're gonna fault the Virginia people, which I'm not saying Virginia's got this awesome fan base.
They don't.
If you wanna play your card, play it that Virginia Tech travels well when we're 7-5 to the Duke's Bowl or the Armed Forces Bowl in DC or the Military Bowl, whatever you want to call it. You play that card. But people come to a Clemson game, sure. I don't care if you live in Blacksburg or the Moon. If you've got the opportunity to go to Virginia Tech and Clemson, you're going to go to Virginia Tech and Clemson.
Okay, that might have been a bad description.
Might have been. It was a really bad description.
And let's be honest here. You cannot compare that to a LU football game because at least even if it's somehow mysteriously empty, you can still hear the crowd rocking.
Dion would have gone with you to the Tech Clemson game, and Dion himself said he's not as big of a college football fan.
He said he's not an SEC fan. He loves the ACC.
Okay, my bad.
Sorry. I had to correct him. I usually don't get many chances to correct him, so I got to get it.
He already gave me a hard time because I was late today and I lived like 200 steps away.
Tech fans travel, yes. Their second home is Scott Stadium. That's been proven because every time we played at Scott Stadium,
There's more.
there's more Tech fans than UVA fans every
Agreed.
year.
1,000%.
Like, you can't go back and look. That's bad when you have opposing teams coming into your stadium and the opposing teams bringing more fans and basically
I
making
didn't get
that
upset
second
till you
home.
brought up Clemson.
The only thing missing at Scott Stadium is go ahead and play Enter Sandman. Just play it. I mean, you play
I think it was 60-40 when we went to Tech last year. It was 60-40 Tech fans to Clemson fans.
Yeah. Tech packed that stadium out.
But that's still not a good number. If you've got 40% of Clemson fans there, and if you're such a big dynasty,
Well, the
there
reason-
should be more than 60-40.
Well, the only reason it was 40 and 60-40 was because Tech had to cut off how many tickets they could sell to Tech people because Clemson had to be able to bring some fans according to their saying. I don't know how true that is. Or
I
not.
think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one. Let this one
Scott.
fly. I like Scott. I'm not going to argue with him as much. We can disagree and agree. Go ahead.
Let's go ahead and hear Scott's record for Tech.
I'll sidebar quick with UVA football fandom. They don't know how to fan at a football game.
That's a fact.
They haven't had a team since Al Groh.
Yeah. Oh, well, like
Since they blew the 10-point lead in the bowl game against Texas Tech.
Yes.
They
But like
haven't
Ross
had
said, their thing is they want to recruit all these smart kids and like preppy kids. They don't want to go get the down-to-earth, knit and grit, hard-working men.
Hold on.
That's the truth. If you look at their
I don't
recruiting,
think they want to, though. I think they have to.
they don't want to. That's the problem. They don't want to, and they won't.
No. I think there's some people that want the admission standards relaxed slightly to where you can bring in the down-to-earth kids. I mean, Virginia and Stanford and all these places are in the same problems of.
But they won't do it.
Duke,
What?
Stanford,
Right.
Northwestern.
They won't do it. It's not the football program's fault.
Yeah.
That is not the football program's fault at all.
Well,
Believe
no,
me,
I'm not saying it is, but that's what's hurting them. Because y'all won't lower your standards, you might as well just cough it up and just get rid of your football program. Y'all just spend, no offense, their football program is not that important since Al Groh left. Basketball, I will give you, because basketball has won a natty. Baseball has won a natty. Brian O'Connor's gone. I'm curious to see what happens with baseball this year for them, now that he's gone. But you have these other sports that are doing so well. Your football program hasn't even won in the conference, much less made it to the conference. Like, they're a joke.
I will promise you, football is bringing in more money than baseball. I will promise you.
Nah.
Baseball
and basketball and
football
lacrosse.
covers everything.
Everything.
That ain't
Those
my
three.
car to bet, but I'll still bet it.
Those three are bringing in more than football
No way.
combined.
No way.
Those three, basketball, baseball, and lacrosse. Because lacrosse, they've won every year. They can't even sell season tickets. Their season ticket holders are giving away their tickets. My father is a season ticket holder. He sold his tickets. His best friend sold all of their tickets. So, like, their season ticket holders have said, screw the football. Like, they're done with it.
I will give you one team for an example on that, and that's Kansas. Did you see the news from a few weeks ago that somebody donated $300 million to the Kansas football program?
No.
It was a billionaire of some kind. He donated $300 million. Kansas football
I need to know
will
this
be.
billionaire.
I know, right? Kansas football will be better. I mean, they're in a good spot right now, and it's only going to get better now. Football has always carried that. I mean, look at Kentucky.
Kentucky's a basketball school and always will be a basketball school, in my opinion.
Well, not Kentucky. That was a bad example. Look at Alabama. Their basketball program had been, what was that? The Elite Eight in the last couple of years. Their baseball team, same thing. Georgia, look at their football program. Baseball, Florida, Tennessee.
But then
Vanderbilt.
you're looking at the SEC when you look at those teams.
See, here's the thing.
You look across Wake Forest, same thing as well. Wake Forest has been a joke for a while, but their baseball, their basketball. Look at the minor ones: soccer, lacrosse, golf, women's.
I feel we're
sports
getting
and all that too. So.
mixed up here a little bit. Revenue versus prestige is one thing. I mean, prestige, Virginia baseball has it. I'll give you that. Virginia baseball has it over Virginia football. But in terms of breaking in the money, guess what? The ACC network didn't form because of college baseball. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's where I get into this whole thing at, because, if you look at $1 million contracts, $1 million contracts are not being formed for anything but football.
If they're bringing in the money, where's it going? Like, if football's bringing in all this money, where is it going to? Because
I didn't say it was
haven't
positive money. I didn't say like everybody's in the green after every football game.
Because if they have all this money, like y'all saying the football program brings in the most money for that college, it doesn't reflect. Because if that was the case, especially with NIL deals now, no offense, they would be a better football program. Because you're able to go to that portal and offer this person to drive a Mercedes-Benz, I'm just using that as an example, and give them X amount of dollars. But they can't.
Okay.
One, they're not lowering their standards. Two, I don't think they have the money. I really don't.
So
where do you put Tech at? Let's get back on that.
Let's get back on. We need to quit sidebar.
We just need to get off the UVA topic.
We need a sidebar
I'm going to get up on it again because I know what he's going to say. He's going to give us that
That'd be a great day. The sidebar.
That's what you should name this podcast. The sidebar.
I really should, because we sidebar more than anything.
May as well.
My projections for Tech this year, and it is based off of y'all's loss today against South Carolina. I have y'all going 7-5, and I will elaborate. You're going to win the Vanderbilt game. You're going to have a tough one against ODU, because ODU always plays y'all tough.
Yes.
Wofford, I will give Tech the win. You're going to win against NC State.
Felt the eyes.
I was letting you know. The Georgia Tech, you're going to lose, because I love some Haynes King. Haynes King is he ran all up and down Colorado.
Oh, they did it to us last year. They beat us last year.
I think he had 160 yards rushing the other day on Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game could potentially go either way, because that is a rematch from last year, and they came to Blacksburg and
that's a conference rivalry.
Yeah.
It's a very good conference rivalry. You're going to beat California, because California does not belong in the ACC. I'm saying that there. I am splitting the Louisville and Florida State. You're going to win against Louisville, but then you're going to lose against Florida State. I
think it's because it's in Tallahassee. If that was in Blacksburg, I'd say that would be the
That
one
is the reason why.
Yeah.
The same thing with the Miami game. You're going to lose against Miami. It's going to be close. And just to throw the jab at you, Virginia beats Virginia Tech.
I tell you what, we got two witnesses here. He said that I'm a gambling man, daggone it. How much you want to put on it?
20 on it right now.
You got 20? Are we doing just straight money line, no spread?
I think you can get $20 by the time the UVA game rolls around.
I got 20 that Tech beats UVA.
We've got about 30 witnesses on this. Virginia beats Tech at the end
That's
of
the
the
only way I
season.
can bet on a Virginia team is if I bet it with somebody in person.
I can already hear my phone ringing that day it happens. Yo, what's good? Wait, you lost the bet. I knew it.
I ain't losing that.
I am saying that Tech will go 7-5. So I don't know what's going to happen to your head coach situation on that. If you make the bowl game and you lose bad in the bowl game, I think your head coach loses his job.
I don't think he loses his job if we make the bowl game, because if he gets 7-5, that's a better record than we had last year. We made it at 6-6, and we went into the bowl game with losing a bunch of players because of the portal and injuries. So to me, that bowl game was just just see what you got with the younger kids, let them play, because he basically played a bunch of freshmen and sophomores in that bowl game.
Well, same thing
We
with
got
Florida
demolished.
State when they played in their bowl game. They had lost. Well, I think we can sidebar on that another day. But the same thing happened at Florida State, but their New Year's Six game. It was
No,
all.
it's not far right now. Go for it. I got time.
No.
I have them at 8-3, like I said, and if they were to potentially beat Georgia Tech and somehow beat Louisville, say they get to that Florida State game, and the only loss they have is South Carolina, which is a big if. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-1. That Florida State game in Tallahassee, I say, is a night game, and I say whoever wins that game potentially is in the ACC championship game.
Which game?
The Florida State game. If Tech was to happen to just win after today, like all the way to Florida State. So they're going to beat Vanderbilt, ODU, Wofford, NC State, Wait. They beat Georgia Tech
So
and
1,
California
2.
and Louisville. So they're 8-1 going into Tallahassee.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're 5-0 in conference play.
Yep.
Coming to Tallahassee. Okay.
And I think if that happens, this is a big if. If that happens and they beat Florida State, which I don't think is going to happen at all after what Florida State did yesterday to Bama. Now, granted, Florida State could get humbled. I'm not saying it's not possible. They could end up losing. I don't know what their schedule looks like. I didn't look at it. But if they were to go 5-0 in conference leading up to that game, that's a night game in Tallahassee, I think. And I think whoever wins that game, you look at potentially being in the ACC championship, because you might be chalking up a loss to Miami. I think that's going to be a win for us. And I think if that was to happen, Brent Price secures himself for another 3 years. At least. Now, I'm not saying they're my dark horse in the ACC. Now, if we look at dark horses for the ACC, Tech was not on my mind at all until I looked at their schedule and we started talking about it today. My dark horse was SMU, because SMU was there last year and they made it a game for Clemson.
They did to the last kick of the game.
Yes. So I think SMU comes back with a vengeance and tries to get back to that game, because honestly, I think Clemson should be in the ACC game. I'm not big on Miami like a lot of people are, because Carson Beck's coming to Miami. I'm not big on Miami at all. I think Carson Beck is going to... Today will really show what Carson Beck Miami got. Did they get the one from Georgia, or did they get the one that just lost his girlfriend when he transferred schools for her?
Well, with Miami, you've got that receiving core that is depleted from everything that they had last year. You had the 9-year starter tight end. He's gone. You had all the receiving core. I think there's only one that made it into the 53-man roster. And the rest are probably on practice squad right now. Miami is supposed to be stacked everywhere else. I mean, their receiving game is their only question mark for Miami right now. I think they'll go 10-2. But my dark horse is Georgia Tech.
Interesting.
I just looked at their schedule and all that. I think they have. Let me relook it again. You didn't print this one out for me or anything like
No,
that. So.
because to be honest, I didn't think about it. I
You
should have
didn't
printed Clemson
think
too.
about it, of course.
Well, while he's looking up that, Dion, who's your dark horse in the ACC?
I think I'll go at FSU.
Okay, that's not a bad pick after yesterday.
If they
Yes.
played like they played against Alabama.
Because seeing that quarterback was absolutely phenomenal. Like, he did what needed to be done.
That quarterback, I would commend that quarterback. He was a great play yesterday. Like, he was a walking dime yesterday.
And you'll love my comparison. He played like Jalen.
Yes.
He played exactly like Jalen.
He did.
He didn't make the big 30-yard pass downfield. He made
the little short chuck downs.
He dunked it 5-10 yards down. He scrambled when needed to be. He played smart. He slid. That'll get them all happy now.
Bob, who's your dark horse in the ACC?
I am going to go with Georgia Tech as well. I would go Louisville, but they're third. I don't really totally consider that a dark horse.
I got an uncle who's a Louisville fan, so I'm looking forward to that game.
Well, my dad went to Memphis for a year, so trust me, I'm not a Louisville fan in any stretch of the imagination. So I would go Georgia Tech, but Louisville. I don't feel like you can give that. It's almost like giving a 3 seed a sleeper ranking in the NCAA tournament. I can't do that.
All right, so I have Georgia Tech's schedule right here.
Okay.
They have a scrub. They play Gardner-Webb next week.
That's a blowout win.
They play us next. And then it's at Georgia Tech.
Y'all's is?
Or we play Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. So we will be in Atlanta in 2 weeks. Then they play Temple. Meh. They play at Wake. Meh. Y'all play them at Atlanta. Then Georgia Tech plays at Duke. They're home against Syracuse. They're at NC State. They're at Boston College. That could be a scare game for Georgia Tech because
Yes.
Boston College is always...
Some reason Boston
decent
College
team.
always ruins people's chances in the ACC. I don't know what it is. If you have a chance in the ACC to make noise and be in that conference game and you play Boston College, watch out because they are the dream crushers of the ACC, if I'm being honest.
And then they finish off with Pitt and Georgia. But they're at home the last 2 games of the season.
Yeah, but
So-
no offense, Georgia's going to walk the dog with them.
We'll see. We'll see when that comes around. I mean, they could probably be 7-2, and they'll be 11-0, 10-1 when they play in the final week of the regular season when they play. But I see. If they should win the games they should right now, they'll go 10-2, and their only blemishes will be against top 5 opponents.
Yeah.
So and then I said earlier, Haynes King. What is there not to like about him? He can run. He can throw. He's smart with the ball. And the team is aged. They all played together. Mm-hmm. This is their coach's 3rd year or 4th year, something like that. They were a freshman, sophomore team for the longest time, and everybody had stayed. So they're very experienced, and I feel their experience will show up.
Georgia Tech probably got a better on-campus feel at Colorado than they'll get at Georgia Tech. Because I don't think Atlanta is necessarily like the hotbed of the toughest place to play in ACC football. And what you said about Boston College, I feel the same way about Pitt.
Pitt's another one to watch out for.
I feel the ACC to me is still a Carolinas league in terms of it's a mid-Atlantic league.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you get outside of that, it's like tough. It's tough to go because it's almost like not an ACC school. And guess what? That works the other way too. When Syracuse has to come down or whatnot, I mean, I almost think of people like it's a conference game, but I feel like people treat it as a non-conference game in a weird way. So
Still feel them as Big East.
yeah.
Agreed. Same thing with UConn.
Yep.
I mean, you had Maryland for a stretch and all that as well too. I mean, they're 3-4 hours away,
Yep.
but it's a completely different power.
Nothing gets me jolly like that old ACC conference game with SMU and Cal. Whew. Man, if that ain't old school ACC, I don't know what is.
And they're 17.
That'll be
hours
for
away.
another episode. I think the conference. Yeah, we'll talk about that on another episode because I can go down some rabbit holes with what I think should be the ACC and what I shouldn't and whatnot.
Oh,
when
definitely.
teams decide to leave and all that jazz.
Or the Big Ten's going from the West Coast to the East Coast and
Yeah.
all that with Oregon and Washington too.
I will say this: me and you made the bet about the Tech UVA game. I think if you two are right, if something miraculously happens and Tech does lose that game, then Brent probably loses his job no matter what his record is. That I will say. Because, no offense, you've beaten UVA this bad during the Frank Beamer era and even after when we went through the Fuente bull crap that we went through. And even then, we only lost once to them through all of that. If Brent Pry loses to UVA at all, no matter what his record is, he's fired the next day. I don't even think he would coach in the bowl game if we got there. I think honestly they could be undefeated in the ACC and be in the championship game.
No way.
No.
No way.
You lose to UVA.
I don't care. If you're undefeated in the ACC,
but you lose to the one team that you should dominate every year, that you've dominated every year, and you lose to that team, yeah, I think his job is in jeopardy.
No way, Jose.
What was it, Kentucky, Florida?
Yeah.
Florida had beaten Kentucky for like 35, 40 years, and Kentucky is like 2-0 in the last 2 years or something like that. They still have Billy Napier as head coach.
I don't know.
You can take that to your grave, and I'll take it to my urn. We'll be fine.
All right. So that wraps it up for our college talk. We just want to thank you guys for listening to the S&D podcast today. We just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just remember, you can check us out on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. And we look forward to talking to you guys in our next episode. Yes, sir.